Welcome to TBG Talks, Expert Insights for Your Business Success, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of accounting and finance, consulting, business, and the employee experience with experts at the Bonadeo Group. In each episode, we'll sit down with our firm's thought leaders to discuss the latest trends, challenges, and strategies shaping the industries we serve in the modern-day accounting workforce. Today's episode of TBG Talks is hosted by Laura Myers, Director of Corporate Communications here at the Bonadeo Group, and she is joined by two of our firm's key leaders, CEO and Managing Partner Bruce Zakeri, and Chief Growth Officer and Chief Financial Officer Mike Paradello. Bruce has been with TBG for over 25 years and has previously led the firm's small business advisory group, serving various commercial and individual clients. His expertise includes tax and financial statement audits and special project consulting, including strategic planning, financing, mergers and acquisitions, and business valuations. Mike, on the other hand, develops and maintains an integrated growth culture and infrastructure across all businesses. He optimizes firm resources through aligned integration of geographic, industry, and service line segments. He also prioritizes and guides the go-to market effort, sales, communication, and client experience to drive efficient outcomes. In this episode, we're discussing all things growth with Bruce and Mike. As the accounting industry continues to evolve at a rapid pace with ongoing M&A activity, emerging technologies, and shifting market demands, we're taking a closer look at how TBG is navigating this landscape. From organic and inorganic growth to global expansion efforts, Bruce and Mike share their perspectives on where the firm is headed and how it's staying competitive in today's market. So without further ado, let's get started. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Mike. It's so great to have you here today.
Morning, Laura. Good to be here.
Good morning. Great to join you.
So, Bruce, you are a returning guest here today, but for those who might not know you, can you briefly reintroduce yourself and your role here at Bonadeo?
Sure. I'm Bruce Zakeri, and I'm CEO of the Bonadeo Group. Glad to be here.
And Mike, this is your first time on TBG Talks, so would you be able to give our listeners just an overview of your role and what you do here at Bonadeo?
Sure. I'm the firm's chief growth officer and the firm's chief financial officer. Been here quite a long time and, glad to be talking about all things growth this morning.
Awesome. Well, like I said, thank you both for taking the time to chat with us today. Let's talk about, one of the things that's on every public accounting firm's mind right now, growth. As you mentioned, Mike, that's something that you're dealing with and thinking about every single day in your role as Chief Growth Officer. And Bruce, in your role as CEO, it's not far from your mind, I'm sure, at any given time. How does Bonadeo plan to grow over the next couple of years? Will it be organically, through M&A activity, combination of both? Maybe Mike, if you want to jump in first.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the first thing I would say, Laura, is really informed by the strategic work that we've done as a group. And we have a healthy mix, probably more tilted towards the organic side of growth. So really investing in our services, investing in our industry go-to-market strategy. Having said that, mergers have always been a significant part of our overall strategy. As it relates to sort of growing the firm, one in which, Bruce obviously as CEO has led, and will continue to lead, and so I would say while tilted a little bit more to the organic side, it is a healthy mix of both.
Bruce, anything you wanted to add?
I think we have a long history of growing both organically and through merger. Over the last 25 years, we've probably done on average one merger per year. We will continue to probably keep that pace. And then again, Mike is our chief growth officer. We'll work with our industries and our go-to-market strategy around our industries to target, somewhere in that 8 to 10% organic growth range as we move forward.
So you mentioned mergers just now, and obviously the Bonadeo Group, like you said, Bruce, has completed a lot of successful mergers. When it comes to M&A, how important is culture and culture fit when deciding what firms you are potentially interested in merging with or those that might not be a fit? How important is culture?
Culture is the number one criteria by which we judge firms, in terms of them being a good fit or appropriate for us. Um, we spend a lot of time on the front end getting to know merger candidates. I would say, probably for every 8 or 10 firms that we talk to, we pick one, right? So um, we have a whole process whereby over a period of probably 6 to 12 months, we spend a lot of time with them, meeting with them, getting to know them, understanding what their culture is, how it matches with ours, how do they look at the world, and what's their business strategy as they grow their firm, and how do they treat their people. And so, all these things we look at. Our goal is to get as close a cultural fit as possible, and really, without a good cultural fit, you're fighting an uphill battle. And so that, I think, that is the one thing that we spend a lot of time on, and I think that's the one that's um, probably the primary reason why we've had many successful mergers. I mean, we've never had to demerge any of our 25 plus mergers over our history, and I think that has a lot to do with it.
Somewhat related, Bruce, but when it comes to any advice you could provide to other firms in similar positions to the Bonadio Group when it comes to mergers or growth through acquisition, what advice would you provide to those firms?
So cultural number one, right? Getting to know them, understanding them. Secondly, making sure that you both have the same expectations going into a merger, right? You have to, as we always have to make sure that we set expectations and are very clear about, what we expect of a firm that's going to join the Bonadio Group. Um, I think that, you want to make sure that you have good leadership. um, it, a firm coming into the Bonadio Group, it's a lot of change. It's a lot of, adapting to new ways, and meeting a lot of new people. The firm that you're acquiring has to have solid, good leadership. And then third, is, from a geographic standpoint, making sure that, that there's a good fit geographically, as the firm is moving forward.
That makes a lot of sense. Switching gears a little bit, Mike, what trends are you seeing right now in the public accounting industry that are driving growth or, on the flip side, creating challenges for firms like the Bonadio Group?
I think there are some, what I'll call macroeconomic factors that are impacting, many industries. As we have exposure to any host of industries as a public accounting firm, it also impacts us, right? And there's a lot of uncertainty. There's geopolitical uncertainty. There's certainly some near-term economic uncertainty in some instances. The markets do continue to perform, but I think there's some general hesitation, in primarily on that more advisory side, where we've seen some outlier growth over the last several years. Our traditional lines of business continue to do well, but where obviously we're going to get that sort of 8 to 10 to 12% organic growth is probably going to be in a new mix of services, and those services are generally those that are on the advisory side. So I think there's certainly some headwinds out there. The technological advances in the market that are sort of confronting all of us. How do you deal with the artificial intelligence? How is that going to help you, not replace you? I think those are things that all of us in again a variety of industries are confronted with. So we're really kind of, I would say, cautiously moving through some of those strategies as we look to execute on our growth pattern.
You mentioned services. So what are the firm's core services today?
Guys, I mean, our core services, our traditional services, would be those, not unlike kind of most public accounting firms. So the traditional assurance financial statement work, our tax services, so tax compliance, tax consulting services. And then, we at Bonadio, and again, if the question is what's core to Bonadio, I'd love to say that, well, geez, everything is core at Bonadio. We've got a long, proud history of developing and standing up businesses to continue to help support our clients. Again, more traditionally, our breadbasket, if you will, has been in that traditional services and on the accounting and the tax side. But we've developed a broad number of advisory services that, for the past, decades, cost segregation, niche specialized services and, that tackle, both markets and industries specifically.
In terms of growth, when it comes to services and industries, are there specific service lines, service offerings, or industries that were really, really tuned in to growing within?
Yeah, I think from a services standpoint, we've had a very nice sort of track record in the last 5 to 8 years on kind of an outsourced accounting platform, which has more of a industry industry agnostic view. We have seen businesses in advisory. We've really invested in our fraud and forensic space. We've continued to develop kind of our internal audit or insourcing, if you will, some of the kind of managed services components to supporting clients and businesses. We've got a very vibrant cybersecurity practice, which has grown and been an outlier growth engine for us. I think when we look at technology and, we've started to, very carefully assess software, technology enabled services, and so I do think that there is a significant opportunity for us over sort of a more protracted period of time to take advantage of our knowledge in technology and our knowledge of services, bring that together and really provide a coherent solution for the market.
Awesome. Bruce, in terms of global resources, we've talked about that previously when you've been on the podcast. But as it pertains to growth, can you share more about Bonadio's kind of global strategy or expansion and why that's a focus right now?
Sure. The marketplace again has changed drastically over the last several years. Number one, with the kind of advent of private equity, the competitive nature of our industry has heated up tremendously. We are forced to find ways to do our work quicker, cheaper, faster, right? And we also have, the age-old issue of shortage of people in the accounting industry. Both of those reasons have forced us to look to globally to find to kind of build and grow our team of professionals. We have a team of professionals in the Philippines. We've been working with them for the last several years. They've been a great addition to our team. And we plan on adding to our presence in the Philippines. We also plan on acquiring and having our own office in the Philippines. So we are very committed to building our presence there, to building our global resources, and that really, I think, is going to allow us to be competitive and to provide our clients with great service and very qualified, competent people.
You mentioned culture earlier. How do you ensure that as the team grows, as far as the Philippines or further, how do you ensure that the Bonadio Group's unique
culture remains intact or even improves throughout growth?
They're just as much a part of our team as anybody. They're part of our culture, our culture committees. They're part of our promise teams. They have direct connections to partners. They attend all of our meetings virtually. Sometimes they even travel to us, and we are going to start traveling to the Philippines. So um, everything we do, they are a part of. They are truly part of our team, and that's kind of been our philosophy, to make sure that they feel like they're part of our culture.
That's awesome. Um, So we can't talk about growth right now in public accounting without referencing private equity. Obviously, it's having such an immense impact on the industry. Mike, it's extremely competitive right now in the public accounting industry. And um, how do you feel the Bonadio Group is responding to the impact that private equity is having and addressing the competition in the market?
Yeah, I think it has certainly been a disruptive factor over the last, probably 3 years and probably to 5 years, and has really picked up. I do think for those firms who are going to be long-term successful, certainly like we hope to be, it has I want to say forced us, but it is, really led us to double down on strategy, on sharpening our focus, on, are we making the right investments? How are we managing our business to be able to, continue to do what we love doing? I think, in my mind, and, I know some of us, we've kind of shared these sentiments from time to time. Private equity tends to be a more primarily financial driven outcome. Whereas I think what we have great interest in is the professional outcome, right? So a distinct desire and wanting to continue to grow our people as a primary motivator to grow our client relationships, to invest in our profession and ensure that we're delivering value. Having that external sort of force, if you will, again, it has led us to get more disciplined, which is good. I mean, from time to time, I think the external force is placed upon you to, again, resharpen your focus. We tend not to have been a fairly complacent firm over the years, but it certainly has continued to elevate, our level of sort of interest in planning, strategizing, and then ultimately executing in a disciplined way.
In terms of the Bonadio Group's future as it pertains to private equity, Bruce, what is our plan as a firm as we move forward? Are you considering, pursuing the private equity route? Are we committed to remaining independent? What's our strategy as a firm?
Laura, we constantly look at this, right? I mean, the environment's changing so rapidly. We've spent the better part of the last couple of years really analyzing what is in the best interest of our firm, our people, our clients. We've come to the conclusion that based on everything we see and know today, that we believe, staying independent makes the most sense for us. As we can continue to remain independent, or excuse me, we can continue to remain competitive with other firms in our markets, as long as we can make all the investments necessary in technology and our people and resources that we need, as long as we feel like we can execute on our strategy, and we will stay independent. And we believe that staying independent, it's in the best interest of our people and our clients. We are a strong firm. We have a strong balance sheet. Unique to us is that we fund our partner retirements. So we do not have any kind of unfunded partner retirement obligation. From a financial standpoint, we are, I think we have a very good balance sheet, and we are able to make the necessary investments as we move forward. So for all those reasons, we're committed to staying independent. We think we think, as Mike mentioned, I mean, we've never been strictly about financial results. Of course, we're running a business that's important to us, but we also want to make decisions that are in the best interest of our people and our clients, and not be weighed down by having that financial constraint that private equity puts on you. So we believe it's the best route forward. We're committed to it, and I think, as Mike mentioned earlier, the good thing about private equity is it's forced us to be better. It's forced us to up our game. And we just got done with our partner retreat. Our partners are committed to embracing change in technology. They're committed to taking their careers and their skill sets to the next level. Again, we have a great group of partners. We have a great leadership group. We have all the tools we need to be successful in this marketplace.
Absolutely. And I know that the firm just recently celebrated 200 million. So obviously you're doing something right.
We've had a long history of growing, and that growth has created tremendous opportunities for generations now of professionals. And every year we make a group of new partners, and every year we promote literally hundreds of people throughout our 1,100 plus workforce. So we're going to stay committed to growing, to creating opportunities, and of course, part of what that also allows us to do is give back to the communities we're in, and that's what we're all about, and that's what we want to continue to be about.
It really, the narrative that growth is not just a benefit to clients or the bottom line, that it's also a benefit to our people, our employees, both current and future, our communities, is really carried through in everything that you say, Bruce. And I think that's amazing. So Mike, Bruce mentioned, the importance of staying competitive right now. And I think that that's something that a lot of mid-size accounting firms are trying to do. So what advice would you give to mid-size or even smaller firms that are really just trying to stay competitive in today's market?
I mean, I think there's a certain amount of focus that you need to have. You can't necessarily be all things to all people. So what do you do, really well? What is it that, your sort of core value proposition in the market? And I think over time that may shift. You're never 100% focused on one thing. But at different times, you probably have kind of some outlier focus on certain things versus other things. I look at what our focuses have been. Like, traditionally, obviously, growth has been a very important undercurrent for the firm. Over the last 5 years, certainly, enhanced, or there was a brighter light shown on our people experience coming in and out of COVID. And as we did and have created substantial sort of, mechanisms to deal with that, we're now kind of looking at our client experience, right? And so, how is their journey impacted by what we're able to deliver? I think firms would benefit from taking more client-centric views on the delivery of service. Too often, I think we get trapped on thinking of it from our perspective as opposed to from their perspective. So we're investing a fair amount of time in that, reaching out to clients, obtaining an understanding of how they experience us and, what feedback they might have for us. And then, kind of taking that in and internalizing some of that and trying to, approach clients in a way that, draws them in. And I think, the relationships are what, sort of drives the overall ability to increase and deliver value. And that's really, one of our focuses. We're focused, I think, more on the success of our clients than our own internal success. Knowing what we know, that it will undoubtedly lead to our being, more successful if we continue to deliver in a certain way. And I think that's important for small firms to, pick one or two things to focus on, and make it make it gold.
It might be too early to tell, but do you have any key takeaways that have come from these client conversations and client outreach initiatives yet? Anything that's really stuck with you so far?
Yeah, I don't know that it was a surprise or a shock. I think it was more of an affirmation, but it was a positive affirmation because frankly, I don't know that, at least in my experience, I've asked enough. But just how important the relationship is, the personal connections that we build between our teams. Very few talked about a specific deliverable or a specific outcome. A lot of it was, how they felt we treated them, or how we made them feel as though we were a part of their team. And I think, again, that was more affirming, because I feel like we've strived for a long time to, take that approach with our clients. Certainly there were opportunities for us to improve, as there always are. And we welcome that. Frankly, I think, too often maybe what goes unsaid has the potential to disrupt some of those relationships. And so being proactive, and asking them quite up front, what can we do better, or where might we improve, sort of just, I think, further demonstrates our interest in the relationship and in the importance of their kind of participating in this journey.
I love that you mentioned the importance of not just assuming that we know what's important to clients and working off of that, as simple and straightforward as it is. Asking the question and actually getting the input directly from the source is so critical. So Bruce, just a general question, what excites you most about the future of the accounting industry, and where do you see Bonadio fitting into that future?
I think, while some people might look at this as a scary time, as a time of tremendous change, I look at this as probably one of the most exciting periods of time in the accounting industry. I've been in the accounting industry for 35 years. I've never before seen such opportunity for firms that want to embrace the change that's happening, for firms that want to get better, and that want to be on the cutting edge. I mean, there's so many exciting things with artificial intelligence and the technology. I mean, the ability to provide and bring more value to our clients, is there today like it's never been. The ability to compete effectively, again, even though private equity's in our marketplace and they're spending and have all kinds of unlimited capital, it, we believe that, if we protect our culture and we do what's right for our people and our clients, and that we make the right investments, and that we embrace this idea of getting better and holding each other accountable, and providing more value to our clients, I think there's a huge opportunity, for the Bonadio Group, more so than ever before, to differentiate ourselves and to grow, continue to grow and provide opportunity. So, I would encourage people to look at this as a very exciting time in our future, in the accounting industry.
Absolutely. It can be scary, like you said, I think, but there's a lot of opportunity and exciting opportunities that we can take advantage of, and firms in similar positions can as well. So I think that's all we really wanted to chat about today in terms of growth. But at the end of every podcast, we like to ask our guests if they have any sort of recommendations in terms of multimedia, whether you've read a great book lately, listened to a podcast other than TBG Talks, anything that you've really enjoyed lately. So, Bruce, last time you shared a great book recommendation, The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. Is there anything new you've been reading or listening to that's stuck with you?
Yeah, I just got done reading a very interesting book called Unreasonable Hospitality. And I shared it with our client experience committee. It's all about a young graduate of Cornell restaurant and hospitality group. He was given an opportunity at an early age to lead a restaurant, a very prestigious restaurant in New York City called 11 Madison Park. And he brought this restaurant from virtually being unknown to literally being recognized as the best restaurant in the world. And the whole journey they went through, and this idea of providing unreasonable hospitality, of kind of going above and beyond, kind of similar to our Ann Moore philosophy. And this idea that, you gotta go above and beyond. You have to build relationships with the people that you serve. We talked a lot today about this idea of building relationships and how important that is. And that's one of the reasons why we talk about being better together. I think it's critical. Yes, we can have the flexibility to work remotely, but we must, as a profession and as a firm, we must be committed to building relationships. So, tremendous book. There's a lot that I think we can take from that as we look to build out our client experience. We'll be very focused on that client experience, as Mike has mentioned. So got a lot of good information out of that book.
Awesome. That's a great recommendation. Mike, same question for you. Anything that you've been reading or listening to lately that's inspired you?
I've gone back to an old favorite, an old standby. So Patrick Lencioni, Getting Naked, which is part of his Fabled series. Which really talks about and it provides great sort of insight to aspiring professionals in how to develop their sort of personal brand, but also in a way, that kind of teaches you that it's okay to be scared, right? Everyone is, and if you sort of, confront those things, are willing to be vulnerable, that there are very good outcomes that will happen, in particular, on the client service side, right? On the knowledge services side. So again, it's one that I read very early on in my career. It was really impactful. And one as we've kind of, brought in the client experience and journey to the forefront, that I dusted off and read, and would encourage any aspiring kind of professional to certainly, take a look at.
Great recommendations from both of you. Thank you so much. And thank you both for being here today. I think it's a very enlightening conversation for anyone in the public accounting industry, especially leaders of small to mid-sized firms. So appreciate you both taking the time to chat about it, and looking forward to having you back on the podcast soon.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much.
That wraps up our interview with Bruce and Mike. If you found this episode insightful and informative, please be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more episodes featuring our thought leaders. And if you're interested in checking out Bruce and Mike's book recommendations, they have both been linked on our Spotify, YouTube, and the TBG Talks page of our website. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.